everyone, it's Tammy Klinger, also known as Auntie Tambaramba, here again with you today. Thanks so much for stopping by my YouTube channel, and today I'm sharing this bright Art by Marlene page. This is the kind of page I just love to do. Just lots of layers and lots of losing myself in the page. So I will go through what I'm using. I have used the Perfect Size Journal, and then I've also used the new stencil set Calming Trio, but in particular I've used the little scallopy stencil in that. Then I've used the coloured washi tape, if you've been lucky enough to get your hands on that. The sticky glue. And of course, I love the new scrap paper that's in the new range. I always like Marlene's papers. So I'm using that rainbow paper. And then a whole heap of paints. I've got my favourites: Smurf, Mermaid, Funky, Ballet, Happy, Black and White. And what I've basically done is the page is inspired by, see in the corner of that paper, the bottom right corner, there's some gorgeous flowers, and that's my jumping off point for this page. So I've basically taken the colours, the paint colours from the images in that particular section of the paper. So I'm just cutting out that section and then also the other flower that's on the other edge. And what I'm thinking, well, actually I'm still deciding at this point, wondering whether to put them along the top or along the side. So as you can see, as I'm making my decision, there's lots of different ways you could put the flowers on your paper. But I end up deciding that I'll leave them at the top. And then I come in, this is now just getting some paint down on the page. And as I said, this process is one of my favourites because I never know where it's going to go. I always know that I'll use some stencils and lots of paint, and I'll probably push and pull the colours back and forth as I go along, as I change my mind and things. So basically pulled out the Happy, which is the yellow, the pink, which is Ballet, and the Mermaid, which is the aqua, as they are all in those flowers. And this is the Smurf as well. There's a hint of that in there. So I have just basically popped them onto my page just using my finger. I like using my finger just to spread the paint, but I'm also have worked in the rule of threes, so I've put the pink down in 3 different places, and then I've put the yellow in 3 different places and the blue in 3 different places. So what I've done after I've got to that point is I just hold the flowers over my paper and work out if I'm happy with how things are going, and then I might just fill in a few little gaps, and there might be a few little spots that didn't blend very well, and I just sort of cover it up with a bit of paint. So I did forget that I've also used this is from the same stencil set, this leaf looking one. So what I've done is I've popped first of all some white paint, which is lace, onto my page, and then I've placed that leaf stencil over the top and then pulled that paint off with a wet baby wipe through it, and it just softens all the colours a little bit. So I did that a couple of times, and then I decided to move to that beautiful scallopy stencil, and as you can see I've popped some Smurf down, that blue, and I'm just pulling it out randomly in a few little spots. Yeah, and I just keep repeating this, checking every now and then with my flowers, adding in a bit more pink, adding some contrast colours on top of each other just to build up that layer. So I have popped the Ballet down, and then I have gone over the top of the Ballet with, I think it is, it's one of the neons, and it's just, you can see it gives that vivid pop of colour. Then I think it's Funky, that one. So it just brightens up that Ballet as well. So I'm kind of happy where it is now, and now I just use a little bit of paint on a very small flat paintbrush, and I'm just spreading some of that paint using just little dots or dashes. So basically where the colours meet, I will perhaps extend that yellow out, or extend that pink out, and extend the blue out. So I always put some over the top of the colour that's already there. So if it's blue, I'll put some over the blue and then I'll extend it out. And it's a really good way of hiding like some of your joins and not so perfect spots. So now I grab that washi tape because I think those colours that are in that rainbow washi tape match this perfectly. So I just put 3 along one edge and 3 along another edge. When I work with things, I generally always go for odd numbers just so things don't look too regimented. So now I'm thinking, well, I'm going to add a quote in the middle. So I probably have a bit too much colour. Is that a thing? Can there really be too much colour? So to just tone that down, I just blob a bit of white. I'm actually just using gesso here into the sort of where the flowers end, so that there's some white coming off of the flowers. And then just to soften that whiteness into the background, I add a bit of white and pull some up with the stencils again, and you'll just see that that means there's a stronger part of white and then it blends out. Okay, so then I'm making sure that's really dry, and I use this this dotty stamp, which is from the Essentials range a while ago. I have listed all of Marlene's products in my little blurb at the beginning of the video, in the comments sort of section, and I just thought those little dots would look really cute on top of the white peeking out from behind the flowers. So I've just randomly stamped them so they look like they're coming down. And while I'm just waiting for that to dry, I've grabbed a black paint pen and I'm just outlining some of the scallops and just going over some of the stamps. Probably my stamp pad needs a re-ink and it wasn't very strong black, so I'm just going over some of them with my black paint pen. Now I come in, this is the Funky paint, and I've sort of pick out that pink, yellow and aqua that I've been working with and fill in a few dots direct from the tubes of paint. I love that the little nozzle allows me to do this. The only thing is with this is be careful not to rub your arm across it while it's drying, because the paint comes out beautifully and thick, and then it's nice and opaque on your page. So just doing a few in pink, a few in yellow and a few in the aqua. And I think this just adds to that sort of the whimsy look of the flowers. It just helps blend it all through. So yeah, sorry I wish my phone wouldn't do this. I'm not sure how to change that, but anyway, I'm sorry about that bit. Might make you feel a little bit ill. So now it's time to use the sticky glue just to pop down the flowers onto the background. And then I decide to cut out a few more little, in that background paper, there's a few little pink dots, and I thought, well, they will be cute because they will go with what I have put into the background. So I just decide where I'm going to put them and then just glue them down. And I'll probably come along and outline those just so they're similar to what I've created in the background. And then because the florals that Marlene created in the paper has a black outline, it just helps all that to blend together. So just adding a few more details. So now it's time to add a quote. So I've gotten to the sticky quotes and I've grabbed, Marlene has such awesome quotes, but this one says, "The best medicine for pain is the presence of another person." And I always like my art journaling to reflect whatever's happening in my daily life. And this one really spoke to me today with some stuff that I've had happening. And so I thought with those bright colours and that quote, this page, would just be a nice reminder in my journal. So I've popped those onto the background and then I've scribbled around with my black pen. And now I stand back and look at it and I still feel like I've got a bit too much colour in a few places. So just to soften that, I come back in again with some white and pull a bit off, and just filling in the gaps really. I particularly love the bottom part of this. It's funny how you'll get some little blends of colour that just sing and make you smile, and for me it's that little bottom 3 scallops and what's happening around that. Really love the blends of colour there. So now I'm coming in with the black paint, which is called Pitch, and I'm just using my finger to go around the edge, and this just frames my page. And what happened here was I did a bit of a whoopsie with my finger and went too far in on one side. So instead of panicking and trying to pull it back, I've just decided to go with it. And so I add a couple more of those spots around the edges so it looks like they're intentional, even though they were a mistake. And then I simply come in with the white paint and add a few dots into those black areas. And if you see in the top right corner, you can't quite see it at the moment because I'm off camera, but there's a little flower that has a black centre with white spots, and that kind of all ties it all in together. So hopefully soon I pull the page down and you can see that. So now this is a step I actually wish I hadn't done, and what you will see at the end is I cover that up. But I always use that wonderful colour Punk, which is the neon purple, and it appears in all my pages. And I hadn't used it, so I decided to just add little bits of it here and there. And as often happens when I'm doing this, I got carried away and I just kept going, and I decided to outline and shadow my flowers a little bit, and I went on and on and on. And then so what happens in the end is I stand back when it's finished and I have a look, and I kind of wish I hadn't added quite so much purple, because I really like that bold blue Smurfy colour. So here I am actually mixing a bit of the Smurf with the Punk, but what I do come in and do later is add more Smurf. So I'm sorry that little bit is not on camera, but you'll see it in the pictures and close-ups. So here you can see that I've removed most of the purple and added that Smurf in. So I really love the colours in this one, and I really also like that those black parts with the white dots have actually become a feature and a really nice part. So don't ever worry when you make a mistake, because everything is savable and can add to your project. Thanks for being here, and I hope I've inspired you. See you again soon.